Okay, so I just recorded a video talking about the I don't know game, um, and gave an example about how I overcame it, personal experience I had. But I want to go deeper into what I started to talk about towards the end of that video, which was exploring your own personal objections to whatever it is that you do identify that you desire, because that is really what's holding you back. So, in my example, I talked about how I had identified this desire to get paid for hours of the day that I wasn't working, and how I didn't quite know how that would come about or what that could possibly look like. But I had gotten that intuitive hit and I just put it out there and trusted it. And very quickly manifested a consulting gig. But what I want to dig into is, in fact, what had kept me from getting that in the past, which was this sense of uncertainty, this lack of clarity around what I did desire, this fear I had of looking foolish, of looking like a failure, of being judged, all the things. Um, so looking back on that, uh, it was 2018 when I had manifested my first consulting gig. And, uh, it was at a time when the reason I got that intuitive hit was because I had that thought of, what I would really desire is X. But for a year or so before that, I was not clear that I actually did desire something like that. I was living a lot in London. I was still kind of flirting with the idea of going into coaching. I had left my career in 2015. I had traveled for a year, and I had done a lot of training, and I wasn't really fully committing to coaching, but I was extremely resistant, like extremely resistant to going back to work. I knew that I didn't want to do that. And so right there, it was something for me to explore of like, I had really, really, really strong resistance to just the idea of returning to work. I was like, no, like I know that for sure. Like I can't go back and do that. I just can't. And so I had to really look at that of, okay, what is the makeup of that? Like what is driving that? Is it a pure desire of like, no, like I'm really done with that because I want to do something else? Or is it, look, I just like don't want to do that. Like I don't want to do work anymore, or I don't want to show up in an office anymore. Like what is it? Um, and what I really got clear on was um, I don't want to go back to being an employee. Like that part of my life is done. Um, and then I had to kind of explore, okay, so then if that's the case, what is it that I do want to do? And the problem for me was that I was really resistant to taking the plunge to the next thing, to coaching. I was really unsure of myself, and so I had to look at that of like, well, what's playing up for me here? Am I not confident in my abilities? Am I not? It was partially I'm not confident in my abilities. It was partially I'm not convinced that this is the thing for me. That, in other words, that I want to do this. That this is like going to bring me joy. So like, do I need to search for more things? So I was playing a lot of games with myself of, okay, don't want that, and I don't want that, and it's okay, what do you want? And so that's where, by the time I hit 2018, and frankly, it was like, middle of 2018, I was finally getting clear on, okay, I am doing this coaching thing, but I am not ready to fully commit to it. And I know that I am not willing to go back and commit to like a career track again as an employee. But what I am willing to do, what I desire, it wasn't even like what am I willing to do in terms of like negotiating with myself. It was truly what I desire of like, okay, I don't want to give up this coaching thing because it does bring me joy and something I want to explore. However, right now I feel like I still need more time to explore it. I feel like there's more I want to learn. And there's things I still need to work at. There were still more shadows that I needed to alchemize and clear. There was still stuff I had to work through. But in the meantime, I desired more money. I desired, financial freedom. I desired, but I still desired this flexibility. Like that was the ultimate thing for me. Like that was my non-negotiable, in like a truth way of it has to be flexible. And so what I realized was, okay, there are options for that. I can work without being an employee. I can, commit to a certain period of time that I work. And so that's when I started to open to the possibility of, okay, maybe I could be like a consultant while I'm still, doing training and while I'm still, working with clients. And so once I had gotten to that space within myself, that's when the intuitive hit fell in of, wouldn't it be nice if I could like, not give up this coaching stuff and still get paid like a normal day's work and a job, but have the flexibility to work from home, blah, 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 blah. But that intuitive hit wouldn't have dropped in previously because I was blocking it with all my shit. I was blocking it with all my doubts. I was blocking it with all my fears. I was blocking it of like, no, like anything having to do with corporate or work is like a no. And I just wasn't willing to consider it. And so that was how I fell into the I don't know to begin with, because I had to start getting really honest with myself of, what am I creating here? I'm really boxing myself into a corner. I am very clear on my no over here, but I'm not committing to my yes over here. So that's on me, and that's why I'm in this space of I don't know. And, this perplexion of, oh, I can't believe, things are, I don't understand where I'm supposed to be going, what I'm supposed to be doing. It's like, hi, you put yourself in this situation, not in a, blame, start to get down on yourself, because that's just heavy energy that will block too, but starting to take responsibility for my choices have landed me in this space right now. And I always have more choices to make. So what are the next choices that I want to make that will put me in a different position? Where is it that I desire to be? And therefore being willing to do certain things. So that meant, hey, I've put myself in this situation. Where do I want to be? I want to be in a position where I have more money so that I have, financial freedom to make different choices. Okay, that means I have to go and create more resources for myself. What is it that I'm willing to do to create those resources? I'm not willing to just go back and work full time, because that would like kill my spirit. But I am willing to take a consulting job. Perfect. Once I decided that, then I got the intuitive hit, and that's when I took the action, and it fell in, and that's why I was able to manifest it so quickly, because there were no longer blocks. I had removed the energetic blocks that I myself had installed previously, and so many blocks that I couldn't even identify what it was I desired, so that I couldn't then identify the next steps needed. And I was blocking my intuition that would later inform me of what to do in that moment to create that. So it's always this thing, if you're in a space of I don't know, ask yourself, explore that. What are you blocking? What are you not willing to consider? What are you not even, like, what's a space you're not even willing to go? And ask yourself, like, why am I not willing to go there? Because there are very certainly things that, are a true no. And you just need to decipher, is this a true no or is this a shadow no? Is this me, simply saying no because, I can't be bothered, or I'm lazy, or because I fear what will happen? For some people, for example, they might feel physically tired and drained and worry, for example, listen, if I take on a job or a part-time gig, I'm not going to have the time or energy to put into the business that I'm trying to build. So they'll just say, I just need to come up with a solution where like I'm not working very much at all. But really, if they were to examine that, it's okay, well, what's the issue with your time and energy? Is it that you believe, you know, you have a small amount and you're just feeling drained? Why is that the case? Do you not have, proper boundaries in place? What's your time management situation like? Are you willing to go above and beyond and put in the extra work and, do essentially two jobs for a while, because you care enough about the business that you're creating? Or are you realizing, hey, actually, I'm not willing to do that? That can be a thing too. If you have to really kind of put yourself in the hot seat and interrogate yourself a little bit and get really real with yourself of what am I willing to do? And by connecting to that desire, say to yourself, am I willing to go the extra mile for this because I care enough about it, because I love it enough, because I care enough about myself to honor the truth and to honor that this is a desire that I have and I'm going to do it. As opposed to, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to in some way abandon myself because I'm not going to pursue that because it's just too much, because I believe I can't handle it. I might physically break down or mentally break down if I do that. Really look at those sorts of things. So I'm going to go into more of that in another video, kind of all the ideas are spewing out now. But I did, kind of coming out of my last video, want to talk more about these blocks, and really recognizing that that's where the energy is being tied up and held. And it's to you to go in and explore that and understand that you are going to be resistant to doing so. In some cases, so resistant that you may not even recognize that you have blocks in those areas, because you may have just, become totally numb and just totally block that out. So that's when you have to become the detective and really kind of follow the trail of, and just be curious and ask yourself, like, well, why is that? And, why did I choose that? And why do I feel this way? And get really, really honest with yourself. And when you recognize that, you have different shadows that are keeping you stuck, that's when you have to decide, okay, I'm going to alchemize that. I actually see the untruth, the lie that I'm telling myself. And here is actually the truth. And here's where I'm taking a stand for myself. Here's where I'm going to stand up and say, okay, this is what's important to me and I'm willing to do what it takes. See you soon.